Sunny ways, my friends. Sunny ways.
Your 16 seconds are up. I'm going to ask you again because nobody believes you when you say you don't know how much money your family has got from the wheat group. You've had a month to look into that. You knew you were going to testify here. Again, how much money total have your brother, mother, and spouse received from this organization? How much?
That information has been publicly shared. But I will highlight.
Well, then tell me what it is.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
We have recently switched to drinking water bottles out of water out of when we have water bottles out of plastic. Away from plastic towards paper, like drink box water bottles sort of thing. Sorry?
The servicing costs on the debt that you're going to have to carry that you're adding to now, right?
Interest rates are at historic lows, Glenn.
There's the funds.
On the topic, I mean, in terms of your sort of strategy currently, you're obviously taking the populist pathway.
What does that mean? Oh, Justin, you're awake. You made it. Have a seat. Have a coffee. You need some. Wakey time.
Let's cut that Disney Plus subscription. So we cut it. It's only $13.99 a month that we're saving, but every little bit helps.
A lot of people would say that you're simply taking a page out of the Donald Trump book.
Which people would say that?
Well, I'm sure a great many Canadians, but...
Like who?
I don't know who, but...
Well, you're the one who asked the question, so
yeah.
You must know somebody. Yeah, that's all that's coming off. There's nothing else coming off, yeah. I'm not Justin Trudeau here. Knockout!
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. I know it's not Friday Night Fringe, but hey, it was a sudden spur-of-the-moment stream. I don't have another opener ready for the show yet, so hey, I figured some openers better than no openers, so ignore the end of that opening, ladies and gentlemen, despite the fact that it is an epic intro. Welcome to a very special, once-of-a-lifetime stream, I guess, as we usually do our streams here on Friday nights. Now, I was mulling around this week as, of course, I've announced another videos this week. If you've happened to catch them before YouTube censors the hell out of them, that I will be out of town for the long weekend. I'm actually going to Winnipeg for an engagement slash, I guess you could call it like a high school reunion of sorts. So I'm not going to be in town for the long weekend. I figure a lot of people aren't going to be in town for the long weekend, but I've always said in my videos that talking with this community is one of my favorite things to do. I understand playoff hockey's going on and people are into that stuff, but whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching it later on, I figured having some form of live content for you guys to digest throughout the week is better than nothing. So welcome into the stream for everybody. I know Blackface Son of Castro, wow, a special treat for me in Nova Scotia at 11:40 p.m. I sincerely apologize for the late timing of this stream. I guess I was trying to free up my schedule back and forth between packing and having to get things ready for the end of the week. I fly out to Winnipeg Thursday evening. So I've been kind of on the fence. Do I do a live stream? Do I just ignore a live stream for the week? And like I said, I really wanted to sit down and talk with you guys. This is going to be a bit of a different stream. Usually we do a roll call. We usually get everybody excited and the LFGs in the Let's Friggin' Goes in the chat. I want to talk to you guys tonight about kind of the state of the country and not only the state of the country, but where we're headed in politics, because I'm starting to see a shift when it comes to YouTube. I'm starting to see a major shift. Now, I want to just I want to first set out to everybody that what we're about to discuss in terms of YouTube. I'm going to talk a little bit about numbers, a little bit about analytics, a little bit about the business of YouTube here, because a lot of YouTubers don't talk about these things. The reason I want to address these things is because of censorship, because I'm seeing a very large change in the winds, so to speak, that has me very concerned for where this country is headed come election season. And there's no better time to discuss this than with this community, with our viewers, with the people who come here to watch this content. Now, this isn't a pity party. This isn't me sharing these numbers, these discussions with this community out of sympathy. It's merely to talk about something very concerning for any creator on this platform that deals in politics. It's dangerous for anybody who wants to get their information from sources other than mainstream media. I feel that free speech is drastically under attack in this country. And I've seen it more and more in the last couple of months than ever before. And of course, this comes fresh on the heels of Justin Trudeau's announcements of censoring hate speech online, or censoring the ability for people to find independent news outlets on search engine results versus government paid shills. Linda's saying, "Get on with it." Yeah, okay. Let's get on with it. See, these are the. I love how people always just want me to come on and, like, have you ever seen Family Guy, where Wally just yells, "It's raining," and they say, "Thanks for the weather report, Wally." It's like that's what people want. They just want me to say 2 seconds and get off. This is kind of a show. I don't know if people are aware. It's kind of a little bit of a show that we do here, and there's a reason for the discussions. But can I contact you via email? Yes, you can always reach out to me. The information should be in the channel's bio. If not, you can always reach me on email at unacceptablefringeyt@gmail.com. With that being, let's get on with it, as Monty Python would say. Just get on with it already. Um, what we're seeing on the channel. I brought on the Quartering last week for an interview about censorship in both Canada and the United States. What we're starting to see is that if you follow what happened in the US elections, if you follow Donald Trump's questions of shenanigans during the last election, again, I got to be careful how I say these things because YouTube censors everything. Meta, which owns, of course, Instagram, Facebook, other platforms, came out and basically admitted that they took money from Democrats to suppress certain media outlets or media stories so that they wouldn't gain traction, so that they couldn't be shared. They were censoring free speech, which is an American right. They were preventing people from getting the information they were supposed to get. When we see Justin Trudeau talking about his plans to censor the internet, because let's be honest, he doesn't like anybody talking about him, I've noticed a shift lately when it comes to politics, when it comes to the political category. There are channels on this platform. I follow a variety of these channels because we all kind of intertwine. We all share the same kind of content. If you go from Moose on the Loose to this channel to Mr. Sunshine Baby to the Pleb to even if you watch guys like Clyde, if you watch Northern Perspective, you'll notice that a lot of the subjects kind of intertwine. You know, this guy's garage, any of these clips channels, they're all talking about the same things because there's only so much going on in government. But even those very large channels that see very large audiences, I'm starting to see that their views are getting significantly chopped down. And as a content creator, I've noticed that this channel in particular, now people can give their criticism all they want. Again, that I talk too much, that they don't like the clickbaity thumbnails. They don't like a lot of things. The problem when you get onto a platform like YouTube is that you kind of have to play the game they want you to play in order to get your content promoted. But one of the things I've noticed over the last month and a half is that YouTube no longer promotes my content to new viewers. It gives you 2 lines on your algorithm reports at the end of a day. It shows you returning viewers and it shows you new viewers. My returning viewers is all over the place because those are the people coming back to watch the videos. New viewers, the line is basically flat. And when I look at other channels, like for example, the Pleb put out a great video today about the interview with Justin Trudeau's brother and Tucker Carlson. I know it's a little late to the party, but the Pleb puts out large videos that deal with more content than just that. When you look at his subscriber count, when you look at his typical views for his channel, The video did drastically horrible. But I don't chalk that up to the pleb's ability to make videos anymore. There's two questions that come to mind in terms of what's happened. Either people are losing interest in politics, or YouTube is suppressing the content. There's a lot of people who throw terms around about, well, it's NHL playoffs. There's a lot going on right now. It's nice weather. People are outside. Summer's typically slower for politics. I get all of those things. But what I'm noticing is that even channels like Moose on the Loose, Mr. Sunshine Baby, who sits over 500,000 subscribers, or roughly 500,000 subscribers, seeing less and less viewers. Still good views, don't get me wrong. My concern isn't the money that people are making on YouTube. It's not the memberships. It's not super chats. It's not the shills. It's not the sponsorships. The problem is that YouTube and other platforms, whether you look at Rumble, whether you look at Odyssey, BitChute, any of those platforms, they're designed to allow creators to get information out to the world. And if media outlets like YouTube are suppressing the ability for people to have a voice, when people don't watch mainstream media anymore, when a lot of people don't consume mainstream media, they're essentially telling viewers on YouTube what they're going to like, what they're going to watch, what they're going to be recommended. They're leaving out a lot of the content. My moderators don't even get informed when my videos drop anymore. This is why in every video I say, make sure to leave a thumbs up, leave a comment, because I'm literally trying to do anything I can to make sure that the information gets out there when the corporation that's hosting it doesn't want to do anything to promote it. And it makes it tough. I'm not going to lie. It makes it very, very tough. There's a number of people who come into live streams on Friday nights after they finish saying, I wasn't notified. I didn't understand that there was a live stream tonight, or I didn't know, that there was a live stream tonight. Again, this isn't pity. This isn't me crying about anything. This is concern that when you work within the boundaries of what YouTube finds appropriate or inappropriate, and you stay on the straight and narrow, but you talk about something the government doesn't like you talking about, what's going to happen when election season rolls around? What's going to happen when we need to get facts out there for people? What's going to happen when it's more than meme videos talking about, oh, Justin got heckled, or Jugmeat said something stupid? What's going to happen when we need to get hardcore, straight to the point facts out to people? And the main sources that people rely on to get their information are crippled by these companies. And a lot of people say, well, move to Rumble. Move to another platform. I could move to Rumble, but you don't just pack up and leave 30,000 people sitting behind on a YouTube channel. And even if you go to Rumble, the viewers, like, you may use Rumble when you say those things. And I'm not dissing Rumble. I'm not saying that Rumble's a terrible product. But the problem is that the majority of people, whether you like it or not, statistically use TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram to get their information these days. So if you want to reach an audience, at least a sizable audience, that's how you have to do it. And if they're censoring those things, what do we do? It's crazy. It's crazy. Got any plans this weekend? Yes, I'm going to be out of town. I'm going to be in Winnipeg. That's part of the reason we're doing this stream tonight. Again, straight surprise stream. It was random. In fact, there's 170 people in here right now. My God, I'm impressed, especially at this time of night. Thank you to everybody who's joining us on this stream. Total Tech, it's a psyop. Figure it out. The game is rigged. It's never ending. Artificially created crisis. If you believe otherwise, you're ignorant. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And Wolf saying, just keep putting out your content. Of course I'm going to keep putting out my content. The problem, that's why I'm saying this isn't a pity party. The content isn't stopping. My concern is looking to the future. And that's what I'm asking this audience tonight. Am I taking crazy pills? Are people just fatigued with politics? Or is YouTube suppressing it, is what I'm trying to figure out. I'll tell you right now, as somebody who deals in politics all the time, politics, people used to say it's ignorant to talk politics when you go outside of the house. You don't talk about money, you don't talk about religion, you don't talk about politics. At least that's how I was brought up. But when I go out of the house, even if I got to go to the grocery store to pick up a few things for the house, everyone there is talking politics. It's a constant discussion. And in between hearing those discussions, doing videos on YouTube, researching what topics I'm going to talk about, talking to my wife when she comes home and she's watched today's videos and wants to talk about them, of course, because she's not around when I'm filming them, politics becomes very tiresome. I'm not going to lie. It becomes very overdone to the point where it's like, oh, we're going to talk about Justin Trudeau again. Rick, member for 5 months, re-upping his membership. Thank you so much for continuing to support this channel, man. That's amazing. Really appreciate that. And go Oilers, by the way. I'm not sure how they're doing against Vancouver today, but hey, go Oilers. I'll cheer for an Alberta team. I don't usually cheer for the Oilers. I got to get my hands on one of those new navy blue with the bright orange font Oilers jerseys. I almost bought one the other day, but they only had like small. I really want to find one. Maybe I'll look while I'm in Winnipeg because you sure can't get them in Alberta, at least in Calgary. I got the nasty look at the jersey shop on the weekend asking if they had Edmonton jerseys. This guy's garage from Cape Breton keeps up on politics too. Yeah, he's great. He's great. Politics have been injected by politicians and media. Absolutely. Absolutely. Terry saying it's like Groundhog Day, especially in the House of Commons. Yes. Every day it's the same old, same old. Wolf is saying 1-0 for Oilers, and James update. Thank you so much for the update. I'd like to see that series go all the way, but hey, it's anybody's game. Anybody's game. It's scary, not because of YouTube. It's scary because I'm worried about. Have you guys ever seen Soylent Green, the old Charlton Heston movie? Or read 1984. I know people quote 1984 all the time when they talk about what's going on in Canada right now. I'm worried about where we're headed as a country. So again, this discussion of suppression on YouTube, guys, the videos are still coming. I'm not worried about it. It's more because I'm concerned about people's ability to be informed. I'm worried about people's ability to get the information they're looking for or the facts, not twisted information from government paid prostitutes. I worry for every single channel on this platform that covers politics because what I'm seeing is mass suppression. They're still getting their views, but they're not reaching where they used to. This channel isn't reaching where it used to. This channel's down roughly 70% of what it was 2 months ago. And that's okay. There's up and down cycles with YouTube. Again, if you understand how YouTube works, those are standard to see ups and downs, but the amount of ups and downs amongst political channels is what worries me. People all see it. Thanks to good men like this. I appreciate that. You know what's funny? I ran into a viewer on the weekend. I was out at a local restaurant, and as I was leaving, they just said, "Hey." I thought I owed somebody money, and I turned around and they asked if I was Unacceptable Fringe, shook my hand, said, "Keep making the content. Really appreciate what you do." Even if one person watched my videos, I would still put them out. So that's why I'm saying none of this tonight is, it's not a pity party. It's not, it. What I like with these live streams is having a discussion with you guys because you're the people who watch these videos. You're the ones who sit down to enjoy the content. So whenever I discuss these things, it's always great to hear from the community that actually participates in the success of this channel to get your guys' take on these things. I know my habits on YouTube. I know my habits when I'm watching videos. I know what I'm seeing on platforms. But when my own moderators come to me and say, "Dude, I don't get notified anymore when your videos drop. I haven't been notified in months." My own wife doesn't get notified when my videos drop. I've got 4 different accounts between 3 family members that are all subscribed to this channel that don't get notifications when videos drop. I'm not sure if it's a problem with YouTube or if it's censorship. When you hear about Justin, when you hear again about the US election and Meta taking money to suppress news stories, again, the concern isn't right now. it's a slow season, guys. There's really not a lot going on in politics. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been grasping at straws when it comes to what kind of content to cover on this channel because there really isn't a lot going on aside from the usual word salad from Fartface Trudeau and everybody else kind of squawming at him. My concern is the election. We're going into one of the most important elections in recent history for Canada. And even though Pierre is in the lead and people go, hey, it's an easy win, it's an easy majority. If you don't think there's going to be some form of trickery going on or shenanigans behind the scenes, don't forget, this is the guy who has had more scandals than any other prime minister. He has spent more money than every prime minister combined. He's the same one who invoked the Emergencies Act on Canadian citizens. You don't think there's going to be some form of screwing around in the next election? Of course. Hey, new Mike, welcome in. How you doing? Great to see you on the channel tonight. Shadow banning is the name of the game. Well, and that's the funny thing. So I don't know if you guys know this, but I really like old school arcade games. I really like video games. One of the things about video games, when you look at games like Donkey Kong Jr. behind me, or for the original Donkey Kong, things like Pac-Man, there were guys who chase high score records. The reason they're able to do those things with those games is because there's patterns. There are patterns to those systems. As somebody, I used to stream on Twitch 4 nights a week before I got into writing, before I got into YouTube. And I played retro video games because that's where my interests lie. That's where my hobbies lie. And I just enjoy it. So I'm a fan of patterns. I like looking for patterns. I used to speed run certain games. I used to enjoy, speed running games like Mega Man 2. Sometimes I'd run Punch Out without getting knocked down. All these kind of fun little runs. But it's all because you understand patterns. What I see when I'm on YouTube, when I look at my analytics, they give you your views for every 48 hours and they give you your views over 60 minutes. So you can see in real time where your views are going. And what I notice, typically when you look at those scales, it's supposed to look like a wave. Like it's supposed to go up like this, crest at the top, and then start to go down when views kind of taper off. Mine looks like a rabid heart rate monitor. And there's always a line where it says you're not going over X amount of views a minute. It gets to that point, and if the line gets close to there, the views rapidly drop by the next minute. They go down like 3/4 of the way and then slowly build their way back up. And as soon as they get to that line again, they crush right back down. And within about an hour and a half of launching a video, if it hasn't taken off, it stays there for the day. They've won. And people say, Derek, you're crazy. They're not suppressing things. When I see the numbers on other political channels and I'm looking at patterns, maybe I put on my tinfoil hat, but it starts to look weird to me. I question everything now. Ever since the lockdowns, I question everything. There are people who are very well experienced on this platform. A lot of people say to me, dude, why do you support Jasper Sunshine? I'm going to tell you why. I seen that a couple times in my comments last week. I'm going to tell you why I support Jasper. Jasper is one of the hardest working YouTubers, despite what you feel about him personally, about what he puts in his titles, about his thumbnails, about It's Over, about any of that stuff. I'm going to tell you something about Jasper. This is a man who served this country. This is also a man who works damn hard on YouTube, understanding the science of YouTube. He looks at the way YouTube works. There's a reason he sits above all the other political channels. And it's not clickbait. He's a very smart, talented individual. And when my channel was struggling, he came to me and said, I'm going to show you how to fix that. I'm going to show you how to reach a bigger audience. I'm going to show you how to grow on this platform because I like your content. You seem like a nice guy. He's got his own paychecks to worry about. He doesn't need to give me his time. He's shown me how to do thumbnails properly, at least for the most part. I'm always learning how to change. But to have kind of like a mentor just come out of the woodwork and say, I'm going to give you the tools to grow. I'm eternally grateful for that. I respect somebody who's willing to see others succeed, who say, I want to see other channels succeed. Jasper is not in competition with anybody on this platform. He loves seeing others succeed. And my hat goes off to him for standing behind this channel and essentially bringing every one of the viewers that are in this live stream into this channel. Because I would have quit a long time ago without Jasper's help. And I'll be completely honest, I kind of gave him a rough time when I first got into YouTube. Because I followed the typical, he's this, he's that. Again, that's my own personal views. But people say, why do you support him? I'll tell you why. Because he's done a million things for me and he's never asked for a dime. Don't sweat the small things. If it got out there, who cares? Yeah, but so again, I'm not, Wade, what I'm talking about is suppression come election time. I'm not worried about small things. Again, guys, this isn't a pity party. I'm worried about government. This is a government that steals billions of dollars from taxpayers. They locked you in your homes for years. They constantly rob you blind. They tax you to death. Half your income goes to them. They're now pushing to censor speech on the internet. I'm worried about what's coming. I don't know if you guys have looked outside your windows lately, but we're bringing in tons of immigrants, migrants, asylum seekers to this country to essentially change the landscape of Canada's future by dismantling our heritage. Everything is offensive. Everything is protested. Everything is shut down. And all these governments pander to these folks because they outnumber us. And that's where their votes are coming from now. And people say, oh, that's racist. Not anymore. Not anymore. I don't think it's racist. I think it's just being honest with what we're looking at. There are people who are coming to this country from all over the world, not just one country, all over the world, and their goal is to dismantle this country and turn it into a third world shithole. They don't want to come here and have a better life. They want to dismantle this country and ruin it for everybody else. Why else are they burning flags in the streets and brandishing sabers in front of people, setting up tents everywhere, defecating on roads, stealing from people, scamming food banks? They don't care about Canada. If that makes me racist, I'm the most racist guy on this planet by saying I want to preserve my country. And I want to preserve corrupt governments changing our laws in order to suit their narratives, in order so that they can scam us more, so that they can bleed us dry, so that they can rob us blind. I'm fed up with giving every dime I have to the government. I can't imagine what a lot of people are going through right now. I have been very successful in the last few years. And yet with that success, despite the way I live, or people think I live, this household still lives check to check. I can't imagine what the average house is doing because we've been very lucky. We're very blessed in this house. But we still live check to check because of rich, greedy elites that tax us to death. You've got guys like Justin Trudeau screaming, well, we're just asking for the boomer generation to pay a little bit more on their capital gains tax. They've done their work. They've done their time. They've made their investments. They've saved wisely. They've been responsible with their money. Why do they need to give it to you when you have borrowed, and spent, and printed money and stolen money and lied to Canadians, scammed us out of our money, go on jet rides that cost $100,000 for food? And the seniors who have worked their asses off are supposed to just pay a little more so you can continue to live on our dime? Get out of here. Get the hell out of here. When you censor what people can see, when you censor what people can say, you have control. And that's the biggest problem that I have with the current government, or any government that comes in the next little while, is that whoever sits in the chair next even if it's Pierre, needs to understand from Canadians, we're watching you. And if you screw around, there's going to be an uprising. This has to stop. Just like the title says, I don't recognize this country anymore. 20 years ago, it wasn't like this. 20 years ago, people weren't saying, I'm offended, I'm offended, I'm offended. 20 years ago, you could go out on Halloween and not hear anybody say, oh, that costume's a little too violent for my tastes. You could put up a Christmas tree without somebody complaining. You could go into a Walmart and find Christmas decorations over top of Chinese New Year stuff. These corporations, it's all about money. That's why you see Diwali shirts and Chinese New Year everywhere and all this other crap laden all over the store, because those are the mass amounts of people that are here now. That's where the money is. There's no money in Christmas. There's no money in Halloween because they don't support it. And we're told to just shut up and put up. Well, it's not Canadian of you if you don't let them come in and do whatever they like. Then I guess I'm not Canadian in your eyes. I want to preserve Canada. That war on Christmas is all Stephen Colbert. Don't even get me started on Stephen Colbert. God. I used to like him. I used to really like Stephen Colbert. I used to watch the Colbert Report when it was on all the time. I loved it. I used to laugh my ass off. As soon as he got his late night show and did the switch, starts dancing about jabs, no. I can't watch any late night television anymore. I used to love late night TV, like Jay Leno, Letterman. I used to love watching those guys. Conan. Do we have giant tiger in Alberta? We used to. I don't know about other cities. In Calgary, I don't believe we do anymore. I think they're all gone. Parents raise children who support their grandparents once in the workforce. In that aspect, we're always supposed to support each other. Our elders had more kids then. Yeah, they did. The problem now with society, and even cities like Calgary, where I get worried about our future, is what's happening with people being desensitized, people being reprogrammed. Calgary used to be a very conservative town. It still is for the most part. But there are a lot of these social justice warrior, fart huffing, Starbucks sipping femboys walking around town that whenever you say something, they want you to be politically correct. These are the guys who wear skinny jeans and drive giant jacked up pickup trucks with perfectly trimmed beards because they think it makes them look tough, even though, they're useless. Real men who drive pickup trucks don't need, jacked up trucks. They in Alberta, they get in their truck and they drive. That's a real Albertan. These guys drink Monster energy drinks and listen to Five Finger Death Punch and think that they're top notch. There's a lot that goes on in this current society setting that scares the hell out of me about the future. Europe is going far right. Like far. I've seen what's going on. I covered a little bit of what's going on in Ireland. My hat goes off to them. I think what they're doing is great. I think it's great. Our youth can't afford to buy a home like we did back in the 80s. So even, it's funny. And Sasquatch, thank you for pointing that out. Part of what I want to touch on with that, because my old man sold his first purchased home in the 80s for $1 when interest rates went through the roof, when everything collapsed. Bank of Canada just announced that things are about to collapse here again. And I'm going to have a video coming out about that later this week. But I can't imagine what it was like back then to purchase a home, see interest rates go as high as they were, and see everybody just walk out, leave their homes. My old man used to tell me that the neighbor would come over and ask to borrow a screwdriver or something, and he'd lend him the screwdriver, and then wake up the next morning, the guy's house was empty. They moved out overnight. They fled because the bank was going to take their house. They had nowhere to go. Dangerous times. But houses were not, even aside from that one period of time, houses were not unattainable like they are now. The best advice I ever got from my old man was when he told me in 2014, you guys need to buy a house and you better do it quick. And we bought our first home, which we're living in now, in 2015. Actually, just after Justin Trudeau took office. And 2 weeks after he took office, my wife lost her job in oil and gas right after we bought our first home. Because all their projects got canceled. That's the reality of it. I covered Naheed Nenshi talking about how Albertans are apparently monkeys the other day. And I showed a video about a trailer park in North Calgary that Naheed Nenshi, when he was mayor, dismantled and said he was going to relocate people to proper homes. One of the people that they talked about was made homeless, where Naheed Nenshi said, but were they really homeless because they moved in with their in-laws? That's the God complex mentality of a guy like Naheed Nenshi. You know, are they really homeless? They moved in with their parents. See, in his culture, that's common to move in with your parents. Now, thankfully, one of our viewers was the mother of that person who had to sell their house and meet with this representative who Sarah McCullough said that she met with and sat in their living room. And I'm told that it's all lies. Danielle Smith is the only one who sat down with them. Now, thankfully, I put out the feelers, and I'm going to have that gentleman on the show, hopefully next week, to talk about his experience and what really went down when the city demolished his home, his property that he owned, and told him that the mortgage that was over his head, he bought a trailer at $55,000. He was given 10 grand and told to piss off. And he's still paying off that mortgage today so that they could build affordable housing. I'm telling you right now, as somebody who lives in this town, no affordable housing went up there. It's all a scam. This is a guy who wants to run the province, by the way. That a lot of younger generation Gen Zers, I got to be careful. Every time I start to say Gen Z, I almost say Gen X. I slipped on that last week. A lot of Gen Zers are going to vote this clown in because they want UBI, because they want free money, because they want teachers to get better wages and nurses to get better jobs and better pay. So they think. It's all lies because it's all the union's fault. But they preach for all of that so they can go home and huff their farts and feel better about themselves and go, oh, I did something great. I voted for a gay Muslim. It has nothing to do with their qualifications. It has nothing to do with their policies. It's because you want a virtue signal. Look how good of a job I did. Yay, pat me on the back. I'm going to put out a TikTok saying how great I am because I voted for a gay Muslim. Give me a break. Then she's a total psycho. Yeah, that's putting it lightly. Is because they listen to CBC and Facebook groups. The craziness that's going on right now. I tried talking about this a while ago, that anytime I've been around the younger generation, it's not about like, I like to have discourse. I like to sit down with people and hear what they have to say, even if I disagree with you on politics. I've said it before on the stream. I have a friend who votes NDP. And it's because their family works in the education system. So they favor the benefits that come from the NDP for the education system. Now, while I don't agree with his stance on politics, I can still have a discussion with him and we can agree to disagree, but still be friends. When it comes to Gen Z, when you talk to those guys, the majority, the overwhelming majority of them seem to think that the louder they are, the more correct they are, and that makes it right, and they don't have to listen to a darn thing you say. You either agree with them or you're wrong. Those are the people that are going to be putting in our future politicians. When the boomer generation dies off, those are the people that are uneducated, lazy, and going to be making the calls. Not just in this country, the United States. Look at if you want to see crazy, go look at the footage anytime Crowder or Billboard Chris or any of these guys have been on a university campus in the United States. You think people are woke here? God, just take a look at the United States. It'll make you throw up. He brags about his legacy being while he was mayor. He spent way more than any other mayor with overpriced Greenline. He did a lot of stupid things. He put in an Olympic bid and spent millions of dollars saying, oh, we're going to get the Olympics again, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be so good for jobs. It's going to be so good for infrastructure. We're going to get our new arena deal out of it that way. We're going to do all these great things. And then at the 11th hour, after spending millions and millions of dollars, he says, nah, I just decided it's probably not worth our while anymore. Get out of that. And then build it all to the taxpayers. Yeah, great leader. And this is the guy who wants to be in charge of the province, who also called us all white nationalists and said we don't need to eat, by the way. If you haven't seen that clip, go check out the video I put out about Nenshi yesterday. It'll blow your mind. Mystical's nailed it. Universities make kids dumber. Even though it's technically not really a word, but yeah, it's so again, this friend of mine who's an NDP supporter, I had the same argument because he says, well, universities are great for people to go and philosophize and to really debate, the future of this world. And, he made it sound like a pamphlet. And I said, I was under the impression people went to university and incurred thousands and thousands of dollars in debt to get training for the workforce so that they could get a better job, so they could be educated. And he says, well, it sounds to me like you're looking at a trade school. People should go to trade schools if that's what they want to do. Universities aren't for that. That's what the clown world thinks, ladies and gentlemen, that universities are great for people to take on $30, $40, $60, $80,000 worth of debt to go philosophize and camp out on front lawns and, not shave for weeks at a time or bathe and protest. I got news for you. I can do all that without taking on mounds of debt. They teach gender studies at university. Doesn't that say enough? I have a degree in gender studies. Oh, you have a degree in make-believe. That's fantastic. I don't need to go to school for 4 years to learn about males and females. Because, I'm going to say it, there's only two genders. It isn't university has always been more towards the arts. Fair enough, but people who go to university to become a lawyer, who want to get their degree to be a teacher, who want to be a doctor, practitioner, psychologist, there's no trade school for that stuff. It's crazy. How, in the name of Christopher Walken, that's crazy. It's insane. These people walking around and protesting. Oh, my terrible Walken. Shut up, Walken. I don't like doing these negative streams. I really don't. I wanted to do a positive stream, but you know what? I've been watching all of these channels on a spiral, and I've been watching people complaining when I'm out and around, when I'm running errands, when I'm doing things. And as I'm about to go to Manitoba this weekend, which is more depressing than ever, not because it's Manitoba. I'm from Winnipeg. I love Winnipeg. It's more depressing than ever because a lot of these policies, a lot of these woke politics are starting to hit that city in a devastatingly high fashion. More so than Calgary. Attach Rumble to your YouTube channel, just like Redacted does. Yeah, I've got plans for that. Again, I want to get all that stuff done. I know people have been saying it for a long time. I know it doesn't take very long. It's just this week, again, with going out of town, with getting a lot of things done. I have to pre-record content for everybody for the weekend while I'm out of town. So I won't be getting it done this week, but trust me, I'm getting it done. It's on the list. It is happening. This channel will move to Rumble for those who want to watch the content over there. Maybe I'll start doing some exclusive streams over there where we can do some unhinged fringe and, start out on YouTube, move over to Rumble and have some more open streams there. The biggest problem that I face with that stuff, and a lot of people can say I'm selling out or it's a shill. I've always said I'm not selling out, I'm buying in. Uh, I'm running for public office. So anytime I talk about the issues I talk about on this channel, anytime I talk about real life politics, I'm not worried about what people think about me. I could care less what people think about me. But when you're running for public office, the people you're running against are going to take everything you say, twist it, spin it around, find ways to make you look evil, terrible, nonsensical. And if I move to Rumble and do unfiltered rants, that's just ammunition for those guys. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I want to do those things, but at the same time, there's part of me that says I got to be a little cautious, at least until that run is over, when people want to use that ammunition against me, even if it makes sense, right? Like I say, I'm not selling out, I'm buying in. It doesn't hurt to vent. It doesn't hurt to vent. And believe me, if you knew me before I announced I was running for mayor or before I got onto YouTube, boy, did I vent. and my opinions are a lot more prominent than they are on this channel. I can guarantee you that. You ever talk to me in public, you'll see some opinions that you never thought I had on this end. Because if people thought, hey, I'm muffled down because I want to get views and clicks and all these things. I don't care about that stuff. I don't care about the money. It's not about that. I want to maintain a platform so you guys can get your content. I love this community. I don't want to destroy it. That's my problem, is that it's not about shilling and clicks and sponsors and everything else. It's about, do I really want to destroy something good that we have going for my pride, for my opinions, when I can find a way to craft it together in a smart package and have kind of the best of both worlds. Cash being illegal scares me. When you talk about digital currency, it's very scary. We talked about that last Friday. I want to talk about it more. I'm doing a little more research on it before I get into it, because while I have my opinions about cash being king, I want to make sure I got my facts straight on what's being proposed in digital currency before I get totally into that. We need people who aren't scared to speak up and stand by what they say when they do. Absolutely, I agree. And I'm telling you right now, if you guys follow me, and again, I'll be posting clips on this channel when my mayoral run does start, you're going to see a different side of this guy when that stuff starts. I told my soon to be political manager that I essentially want to be the Donald Trump of that election by coming out guns blazing, not necessarily making Canada great again or anything, but I mean, in terms of the not giving a damn when you attack people, saying what needs to be said, spewing truth, giving it like it is, and not worrying about who you offend. Um, the people I'm going up against in the next election are all crooks. They're all criminals. They're all pigs at a trough. And if I'm not going to win that election, because let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not overly inflated on my hubris. I know for a fact that this is a very uphill battle, and the likelihood of winning that election is very, very small. But if I'm going to run with those dogs, yeah, you're darn right. I'm going to make them look horrible. I'm going to embarrass them. I'm going to call them out. I'm going to say everything they hate that people say to them. And I'm going to make sure that it's loud and it gets under their skin. And I ain't going to stop being a problem or a thorn in their side until that election's over. And in that 1,000,000 to 1 shot that I win that seat, oh, buckle up, because then I got 4 years of making their lives miserable. At least every councilman that gets voted in to stick around that doesn't want to get with the program. Things would get really, really crazy, really fast. How many games on that virtual pinball? I'm building my own. So this we'll talk about something positive for a minute. This pinball behind me is a video pinball machine. Part of the reason I've bought this machine was because real pinball machines require a lot of maintenance, and finding the parts for old machines is very difficult these days, given their age. Just like finding parts for a classic car. You know, people have them, but they're far and few, and when you do find them, they're very expensive. The other benefit to a video pinball machine is that you can put multiple tables on them. It's not just one, and you can kind of have the best of all worlds. Now, I grew up in the 80s and 90s. There's a lot of tables that I like. There's a lot of old nostalgic ones like Adam's Family. Again, the Roller Games one that's on there right now. I've probably got roughly 350 different pinball tables on this machine. Now, what this machine is it's called an At Games Legends pinball. You can buy them through the brick for, I believe, somewhere around $800, $900. The box that is sitting on top of it with the back glass and the scoreboard below, that is an upgraded piece from the Buy Stuff store online, Buy Stuff Arcades. They made these back boxes so that you can essentially hook a computer into this console and program it to run your own virtual pinball games. If you don't know a lot about programming, I would recommend getting one of these over anything else because of how easy it is to hook in a PC, add your own stuff. They're really simple to do. They just came out with one called the At Games Legends 4KP, which is about, I think, $1,400 to $1,800, somewhere in that price range. I haven't seen the Canadian pricing yet. I do know the brick is holding them. It looks like an Adams Family machine. And again, it's in 4K. It runs better and has one of these type of back boxes on it. So you do get the better package with it. It's all where you want to spend your money. The Buy Stuff box was about $600. But the screen that came standard on this pinball machine was much smaller, which is why I upgraded to this one because it looks more like a traditional pinball. I hope that answers your question. Maybe on my other channel, Missing Context, I'll get into the modding process with these at some point. Again, how simple it is. Pinball probably gets the most play out of anything in my game room. I absolutely love pinball. Whether it's Medieval Madness, Funhouse, Adam's Family, the Data East Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Data East Batman, Baywatch, the Sega version of Baywatch pinball, Tales from the Crypt, AC/DC, Metallica. Like, there's so many great tables I've got on this machine that I play frequently. I absolutely love it. Would highly recommend it for anybody's game room because really you can't go wrong with pinball. It's one of my favorite pastimes. It's those 80 games on one cart sure get pricey. I'm not sure which ones you're referring to there. Sasquatch, you got a man cave. You know what's funny? I talk about it all the time. I built this room for my kids during the pandemic. Let me see if I can pull up my Discord really quick because I was searching around last week with some of my buddies on there because they were asking about my collecting days. It's just a fun way to end the stream, folks. If you guys aren't into the gaming, I get it, but this is still it's still going to be kind of a cool thing I want to show everybody. Because some people, you know what, it's going to be fun too because a lot of people said they wanted to see my dog. I do have a picture of my dog when he was a pup when we first got him. So I'll show you guys that while he's here too because he's currently upstairs bothering somebody walking by the house. But people were curious about my game collection, and I found some old photos of it. Because people always say, what is it you collected? And how much did you used to collect? Now, the reason I bring that up is I sold the majority of my game collection because these games, as they get older, they tend to fail. They tend to go out the window. The price of original Nintendo games was going through the roof at the time. My wife wanted to develop this basement because when we bought the house, it was undeveloped. They ran a stained glass business out of this basement, the previous owner. And I'm a cash person. I always spend cash. I don't borrow money from the bank. I didn't want to do any of that stuff. So I said to my wife, let me sell this collection. I'm pretty sure we can get, a pretty good price for it. I did an arrangement with a guy who owned a game store to buy it in bulk, so that he could profit. I could get rid of everything at once, kind of thing. Sorry, I'm saving all the images right now so I can show you guys. But when I sold that collection, anyways, we got the basement developed, and every penny that was left over went into my toy collection. It went into future things I wanted to collect. So when the pandemic hit and my kids were locked in the house all the time, I wanted to get some arcade machines. My mom gave me an arcade machine before she passed away. She gave me one of these 3/4 scale ones that you see behind me. She gave me a Street Fighter machine. I've talked about that on other streams. My kids really got into the arcades. So I said, well, let's build the kids an arcade. They're never going to see what a real arcade looks like. They're never going to get to experience a real legit like 80s style arcade. So let's do that up for them. And I'll tell you, when the kids were locked in the house, when there was a lot of shenanigans going on, um, it saved everybody's sanity. It really helped everything. Um, Now let me just get these photos open and then I'll share the screen so you guys can see everything. We'll start off with my dog because a lot of people wanted to see my dog Bowser. Now keep in mind when we first got my dog, he was only 2 months old, and he's half Basset Hound, half healer, half blue healer. My dog Bowser, he's quite the jerk. But a lot of people that always say, "Bring your dog on the stream." This is when he was this is when he was first born. Well, when we first got him, again, a couple months old. He's significantly bigger than this, and when I say bigger, I mean fat. Okay, he's a pudgy dog. He still kept a lot of his Basset Hound breed around him in terms of size, but he steals from my kids whenever they're eating. He doesn't listen, and he's a giant fat ass. He's incorrigible. I get mad all the time when I see that dog. Now, when I get into my game collection, just to give you guys a scope of what I sold off in order to build the arcades for my kids, this used to be part of my game collection. Um, Back in around 2015, 2016, a lot of these Nintendo games, I'll focus in a bit so you guys can see them. There's my son back when he was about 2 years old. He's 8 now, but you can see how high these games go. I had roughly 500 and something NES games, um, as well as a complete Sega CD collection, an almost complete Sega Saturn collection at the time. I did complete that set as well. But I sold off all the Nintendo stuff over here except for like rare games that I wanted in my collection to keep for nostalgic purposes, and moved everything else along. And I'd been collecting these since the late 90s. I was a big collector of sorts. And that wasn't even all of it. That's not even the whole thing. I made custom shelves to go along with that. And if you come up here, like a lot of this used to be in my collection. In fact, if you look where this little playhouse is over behind you, this is actually where my Donkey Kong Jr. is now behind me. So this is where I'm streaming from now. Again, this is so I still have my inbox Rob the Robot Nintendo that I kept. I've still got my boxed Atari 5200 that's up here. My boxed NES is sitting behind me on a shelf actually up top. Same with my Sega Master System. So a lot of that stuff that I kept for nostalgic reasons, but sold off a lot of the games. I really wanted to move as much as I could of older games that were going to fail, that were starting to go out the window. Um, and that's where I got the money to build this arcade. That's where I got the funds to continue to do these things. So when people see everything that's behind me, and when people see everything I've done, they always say, "God, you must be in debt so much, or you must have done really well on your books." And I always tell people, no, I still got money left over from what I sold all those games for to continue buying this stuff. I made high five figures on that collection. And it was fun collecting at the time. One of the cool pictures I want to show, there's a holy grail of Nintendo games. I have a photo of my kids playing back before when I had this basement set up. If you guys have ever heard of stadium events, this is like the holy grail of Nintendo games. I bought this game for $3. Back in the day before it became a $20,000 game. Of course, you see my kids on the old Nintendo Power Pad. Again, my now 8-year-old son wanting to run on it when he was about a year and a half. Here's my daughter when she was about 3.5, 4 years old, sitting sitting in front of the old Nintendo. And again, right where this power pad is where my desk is currently sitting for this live stream. So this room has changed significantly since these yes, the dancing pad, Sasquatch says they did a dance aerobics game for the Nintendo. That was one of those things. But in terms of my collection, again, and this is just a little bit of a flex while I'm having some fun, these are the games that I've kept in my collection. So in box was a lot of my stuff. I have all these black box original Nintendo games, mint for the most part, in their boxes, as well as a near mint Legend of Zelda and Adventure of Link. Again, so now I collect strictly for nostalgic purposes. This was on my Monopoly table. This is a storage table. I don't know if you guys can see the line where this B&O Railroad is at the top of the Donkey Kong Jr. box. We used to use this table for storing board games. It was a storage table I got from Home Depot, and I had a vinyl printed to go on top of the table where we cut it down the middle so that the table opened up, held all of our board games, but you could also play giant Monopoly on this table. The table's now in storage because, again, my desk has to sit for YouTube where this table used to sit. So now I stream from here. This is where we're at. And look at that. We only lost a tiny bit of our viewers over that very boring conversation. But that's kind of how this man cave came to be was I sold all of that stuff. I moved it along and said, my kids deserve more. They deserve to have some fun. They were never going to see what an 80s or 90s arcade was like. And this was a great way to give it to them while we couldn't go anywhere or get out of the house. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, you got to grow up. You got to get rid of these video games. I understand where people say you got to look a little professional on YouTube. And I sometimes question the same thing. But ladies and gentlemen, my wife has always told me part of what she loves about me most is that I'm a big kid. And that while I like to talk about politics, while I want to make change, while I want to fix things in this country, she always says that, I'm willing to always put others ahead of myself. But one thing I'll never stop doing is having fun with my kids. I love that I can go down to my kids' level and be a kid with them while I'm at home with them full time. Remember, I'm home all day long with my children, aside from when they're in school. I currently have a 3-year-old that I'm at home with. This is my years to build with them. And that's part of the reason if I got rid of this stuff to make a YouTube studio that looks more professional and I sat down here in a suit and tie for you guys, I mean, it'd be great for YouTube, but it would probably destroy my children. And I just don't have it in me to tell them, well, daddy's got to get my views instead of, keeping you guys happy. So I just keep things like this because I think people deserve transparency. I think they deserve me at my best. And this is me being me. This is what you see is what you get. And just because I enjoy these things doesn't mean that I don't have good ideas. It doesn't mean that you guys don't have good ideas. It just means that I can draw a line to where when I need to be serious, I'll be serious. And when it's time to have fun, boy, do I know how to have fun. And it's always fun to see you guys in this go camping, get out in nature too. Listen, my family's got a quarter plot of land out by Leslieville, which is about 30 minutes west of Red Deer. We go camping just about every weekend out of the summer. We go camping lots. We do lots of outdoor stuff. I don't need to explain all that. I don't owe anything to anybody to explain that. I'm just saying we do lots. Man, if you saw how much I was outside in reality, like it doesn't end. I'm always doing something, which is part of the reason why I wanted to do this live stream tonight, because again, I got limited time before I go to Winnipeg Thursday evening to get content ready for you guys for the weekend. So again, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there may only be single videos uploaded. It depends. There really isn't a lot to discuss in politics these days. So if some of those videos feel like they're kind of grasping at straws, ladies and gents, I apologize in advance. Hopefully it's content that's worthy to watch over the weekends. I'll try to keep it as interesting as I can. Again, things are going to slow by summer. The House of Commons goes on vacation because we all know how they love their time off. But as the summer continues, whenever something political happens, again, I'll be making videos throughout the summer. You guys will be enjoying your summer. Videos may slow down to just, one upload a day or things like that. We'll still continue with Friday night streams. But summer typically tends to slow things down a little bit on the old YouTube. And I think it's good because people, again, were locked in their homes for a couple of years. They need to get outside. They need to enjoy a little bit. And well, enjoy what they can of the weather before, arson season kicks into full gear and runs everybody out the door. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap up this stream. I wanted to go for about an hour. Again, it was a very random stream, and I can't believe that over 200 of you joined us tonight in this stream. Thank you so much to everybody who came in here tonight, who gave a thumbs up, who watches this content. If you're watching the content afterwards, again, I apologize for the Friday Night Fringe intro. I wanted to have some kind of intro on this stream. I usually stick to Friday nights, but hey, that's just the way the cookie crumbles here on this channel. We're always doing something wacky, but not as wacko as our prime minister. Again, ladies and gents, I hope you guys have a great long weekend. I hope the weather's good for you. I know in Manitoba, it's supposedly supposed to rain the entire weekend. I don't know about Alberta, but if you're anywhere else in the country where it's nice, get out, enjoy the weather, have some fun, be with your family, stay safe. Put down the politics for a few minutes. Even my politics. Well, no, don't forget to come and watch my videos, but as soon as you're done, put the politics down. Okay? I got to get my views. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's just a joke after what we were talking about tonight. But you guys have a great weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy. Look out for each other. Look out for your common Canadian. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.